We got an email saying that that they, meaning the government or the oil companies or the hippies, the environmentalists, took all the zinc out of the oil, and now oil is no good. And the reality behind that is there's some misconception there. It's true that because of environmental concerns, some of the anti-wear elements have been removed from the oil, but not entirely. And the big one is actually phosphorus. The American Petroleum Institution, API, and the International Lubricant Standardization and Approval Committee, which is the ILSAC, they've set the latest standards for the amount of phosphorus that you can have in your engine. And the new standards are a maximum of 800 parts per million. But they also have a minimum standard of 600 parts per million. So the phosphorus is one of the major anti-wear elements, along with zinc, that makes engine oil work, and it's still in there, okay? But it might not be as much as it used to be. And for this reason, Royal Purple has zinc in it and the right phosphorus amount, but they also make their HPS line of oil, which is not necessarily licensed by the API and by the ILSAC. And the reason for that is that they can exceed those amounts for non-warranted high-performance engines. So if you have an engine that you built in your garage for your hot rod and you don't necessarily need the API standard, you can use the Royal Purple HPS line and certainly have all of the anti-wear additives that you can buy in your engine oil, and it will be safely protected. Which brings us to another question about the anti-wear packages that you find in synthetic oils. Some people have asked us about the presence of detergent additives in addition to the zinc anti-wear additives, because there's a misconception that the detergent part can actually wash away the protection from the zinc additives. And Royal Purple assures us that that's not the case. In fact, a lot of the detergents work better with the zinc additives in place, and the two of them work together to provide protection and also to minimize sludge in the engine, which is one of the biggest things you don't want is sludge in the engine. Which kind of brings me to one of the main reasons why we like to use synthetic oil, and namely Royal Purple in the cars that we build. And it's kind of funny because Royal Purple is sold as a high performance and racing engine oil. And the reality is, with a lot of the cars that we build here in the shop, and a lot of people that have hot rods and muscle cars, most people are not racing these cars. They'll build a great big engine and make all kinds of power, and they drive it on weekends and on nice days, and they take it to shows. Every once in a while, they might take it to a drag strip or a road course event, but the vast majority of the time, they're just idling them around and driving them on regular streets. And that ends up being really hard on an engine and on engine oil. And the reason for it is, if we were to cut a 1 cubic foot of ambient air out of the atmosphere right now, it's got oxygen, it's got nitrogen, it's got other gases in it, but it also has humidity. And the humidity obviously doesn't burn, it's water. So when you start your car up and you let it idle for a minute and shut it off, okay, the engine doesn't get hot enough to burn off that excess moisture in the atmosphere, and it ends up becoming condensate in the engine and in the exhaust, which turns into water in the oil. And synthetic oil is highly resistant to that moisture becoming corrosive and attacking your engine. So if you can believe it, these people that store the car for the winter, for example, be cold weather, they'll go out, they'll start it up, let it run for a few minutes and shut it off just to keep the oil, circulated through the system. They're actually doing more harm than good because they're taking water out of the atmosphere and putting it in the engine block and cycling it through the oil system, which can corrode the parts. It's really not good for the engine. But again, Royal Purple synthetic oil really stands up to that corrosion and moisture and still provides protection. So it's kind of, again, it's ironic that it's a racing oil, but it helps protect even when you're idling and not even driving the car. So if you have any comments or additional questions, you can always shoot us an email at info@v8tv.net, or if you're watching this video somewhere where you can add comments, please go ahead and comment and post questions or other comments about this stuff. We're always happy to take a minute and answer them whenever we can.